This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
CBD is a game changer sweeping the nation. This hemp extract is the natural way to elevate your mood, eliminate aches and pains, reduce anxiety, and keep you sleeping all night long. It can even cut your workout recovery time in half. Get in the game today with 20% off all orders of CBD and lavender products from Lavender Lane, a lavender farm located right here in Milan, Michigan. Just go to lavenderlanemi.com today and enter coupon code Detroit for 20% off your entire order. Guys, look, these amazing products are infused with calming lavender to maximize their effectiveness, meaning your CBD items only take minutes to take effect, which is way quicker than those pills you were about to swallow. On top of it, they are perfect for men and women. Lavender Lane has lab-tested CBD creams, tinctures, and roll-ons that are perfect for any situation, even if you're on the go. Put your health back in your hands by heading over to lavenderlanemi.com and entering coupon code Detroit for 20% off your entire order of CBD and lavender products. What do you have to lose? Your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. So if you need lavender gifts for your loved ones or just looking for the natural way to ease your discomfort with CBD, go to lavenderlanemi.com and use coupon code Detroit to unlock these miraculous benefits of CBD and lavender. That's lavenderlanemi.com. And remember, use coupon code DETROIT for 20% off your CBD and lavender products from Michigan's own Lavender Lane.
Is there a sports podcast in Detroit that people are talking about?
Hey everybody, this is Freddie Cohen of ESPN Radio. When I'm not talking about breaking news or breaking news on ESPN Radio, I'm always a fan and listen to the Detroit Sports Podcast, and so should you.
Welcome in, everybody, to the latest edition of Doc and Jock. I'm back from Mexico, feeling good, nice and tan. Looking forward to a great football conversation with Adam, the Jock Strozinski. What's up, cuz?
What's up with you, man? How was the vacay?
It was nice, well-deserved, man. First time I've taken 2 vacations in the same year in 15 years, and I'm like, okay, I could get used to this vacation thing, but I did miss everything. I missed doing everything that I'm into, so, it was a double-edged sword. I missed the kids tremendously. Me and the wife went down to Mexico for a destination wedding, but I had a great time seeing it. Man, let me just tell you, hospitality down there was great. The weather was perfect. The tequila, I became a fan of tequila. And let me just say this, our normal recording day is Wednesday. Last Wednesday, I probably was the most intoxicated I've ever been. And we got a mutual friend named Munir, and I drank him under the table, bro. He was out. He had to take a nap at 6 p.m., and I was still going, baby. I was
That's
like,
awesome.
Everyone was like, what's going on with John? Everyone was fearful I was going to be out of it. I'm like, guys, I went to state. This is nothing. We drank like maybe 20 shots of tequila in like 6 hours, man. We loved it. It was one of those good days. I recovered pretty good, and then the rest of the time was just chilling by the ocean, having a good time, getting away, escaping the world of Detroit sports. But I was still connected a little bit, peeking in, and obviously, everyone was concerned regarding Stafford and what was going on. But I kind of was relaxed because you were like, hell, we're going to go play the Bears. Stafford and the Lions, we're going to kick their ass. And then as you get back, you're starting to hear rumors that Stafford's not going to be there, and you're like, wait a minute,
Dude,
there's no chance.
Hold up. Because the Detroit Lions did a fantastic job keeping this all under wraps. Saturday, when I sent you my prediction, I think it was Saturday. I sent you my prediction Saturday night. I had no idea. I wake up to the news that Stafford is going to be inactive because of a back injury because he has a fracture in his back yet again. And I'm like, what the hell? Mind you, for my fantasy purposes, I had Dak Prescott, who was also a top 10 quarterback, and I had Matt Stafford, and I had Lamar Jackson. I had 3 quarterbacks. It was horrible. My team's kind of a mess right now. But anyways, that's beside the point. I end up dropping Dak because I think Stafford's ready to go. He's about to have a career season, and we're rocking and rolling. And next thing I know, Stafford is out of the mix. He's sidelined. He's got a back injury. And the Lions didn't let a peep slip about this until Sunday. I don't know about you. I found this to be quite curious. Made me stop and say, because when the news breaks like this, right, they keep everything under wraps. You go to Oakland, you play a piss-poor game, you lose a game you should have won. You're going to turn around and you're going to say Stafford hurt his back that day during that game. Mind you, a few weeks ago, Stafford could hardly move around because they claimed it was a hip problem. But Stafford goes down. They're going to put Driskel in. By the way, Stafford, I heard, was telling people at the complex on Saturday he wasn't playing. Driskel had no idea he was going to start until early Sunday morning. So you tell me what's going on here, because I think it's all kind of a bit of a cover, because the Lions have played so piss poor and the heat is getting ratcheted up on Matt Patricia, and Bob Quinn's trying to help cover for his boy as well. I just find this all to be quite curious, and I'm just a little bit skeptical. I mean, maybe call me a conspiracy theorist here, but it just seems a little bit too fishy. If it smells like fish, looks like fish, flops around on your desk like it's a fish out of water, I'm just saying it's probably really, really fishy, because it might be a trout.
Well, with the Lions, you can generally get a sense that they're trying to keep everything under wraps. Now, I know the NFL is looking into it, but by the way Patricia explained it on Monday, it seems by the book, but what they're trying to do is, walk right up to that line of reporting and things like that. They listed Stafford as questionable on Friday's report. And when you're listed as questionable, that puts into doubt that you're going to play. But obviously the Lions, the management tries to go into this top secret mode in terms of information, and that's just the way they operate. I don't think anything's going to come with it in regards to the NFL. I think they handled it properly. It's just in terms of reporting, they're not forthcoming. They're right there on the edge of secrecy, and they just don't want to reveal anything. They don't want to tip their hand. At the end of the day, I understand it. You want to, try and hide and reveal what you're doing to the opponent. But, there are rules and there are implications for Vegas and stuff like that kind of make it hairy when you start acting like that. But at the end of the day, Stafford wasn't there. And once everybody heard the news that Stafford was out, I was like, oh, shit, there's no chance they're going to win. And essentially, when you hear that news, it comes across the wire, the first thing you think is, season's done. It's done. They're going to lose.
Over, yeah.
Season's over. They're going to lose. And, it brings into question, was it the same injury as last year? Stafford was playing meaningless games at the end of last year. He missed some time in training camp with the way that he was practicing. Have the Lions actually treated him well enough to get him back on the field? It brings into account a lot of things in regards to Stafford. But the big discussion after the Bears game, and I'll ask you your thoughts on it, I'm of the opinion just sit his ass. It's done. I know he's a warrior. That's never in doubt. Sit Matthew Stafford down and just put him on IR. There's nothing to play for. Let him be more than 100% ready when he returns, because, look, he might be able to tolerate pain like a mofo, but one bad hit, one lineman falls on him the wrong way, and Stafford might not be able to play football ever. So you got to be careful with a back injury, because remember Tony Romo, this guy was lighting the world on fire, zinging the ball all over the place, but eventually speaking, he started missing time with that back injury, never comes back and heals properly, eventually cost you his career. Stafford's only 31, about to be 32. Take it with precaution. Look at what the 49ers did. Their guy Jimmy G gets hurt. They tank and they suck last year. They get a nice pick. They flip it around this year and they're 8-1. So you look at it and you say, there's a lot of pros in sitting Matthew Stafford. I know all the slappies that love him want him out there, but at the end of the day, you're 3-5-1. You're not going anywhere. Lose out. Get the top 5 pick. Become number 5. Take it. Take as good a pick as you can get. And I know those that say, well, Bob Quinn sucks at drafting. He legitimately, those fans that say that, they have an argument. Bob Quinn's drafts, when you start looking at what he's missed, has been really, really bad. So I can understand those that say don't do it. But bottom line, Matthew Stafford's hurt. He's got a bum back. Don't let him play on that NFL field without being 100% healthy.
I agree with you 100%. And this goes back to a conversation you and I had earlier in the year, right before the season started. We had a connection with what this team did with the backup quarterback position. They went out and they signed a guy like Tom Savage, who didn't even make it through the preseason, never even made it to the final roster. They believed so heavily that Matt Stafford was going to be healthy, and they did nothing to protect themselves in case he got injured. The guy plays the game like he's a freaking warrior, right? We know he can handle a crap ton of pain. He played through a broken back last year, and this year you turn around and you're going to count on him to be 100% healthy, and then he goes down. And what do you have to lean on? You have to lean on a trade that you made before the season started for Matt Driskel. What? What are we talking about here? And he went out there and he played okay. He looked okay. He didn't play great by any means, but at the same point, you need to do a better job of protecting yourself and making sure that when things like this happen, you've got an insurance plan. You could have went out and you could have got Teddy Bridgewater. And I said Matt Driskel. I meant Jeff Driskel. I misspoke. I'm sorry. But you could have went out and got Teddy Bridgewater, for Pete's sake. You know, I mean, you see what he did in New Orleans. He sat there and was basically undefeated when Drew Brees went down, and they look like a decent team. He's a comparable backup quarterback. You know, this is going to roll right into our conversation about Colin Kaepernick and the Detroit Lions and whether or not you would like the Lions to go out and get him because they're going to attend his workout. But, I mean, we talked about Colin Kaepernick earlier in the year and whether or not you would want him as the backup. You have nothing to back up Matt Stafford. And when that happens, like you said earlier, the season's now over. The season's done. Even if Matt Stafford comes back and gives you a couple games, all it's going to take is one solid hit, and he's done. And like you said, just sit him. Sit him. What are you playing for at this point? You're playing for nothing. You're not going to make the playoffs. There's no chance in hell you make the playoffs. This team is a complete and utter mess. Both sides of the ball. Both sides of the ball are absolute crap. And you can blame it on Bob Quinn. You can blame it on Matt Patricia. You can blame it on both of them. It's really up to you on what you want to do. This team is a complete dumpster fire. When you start trading away guys like Quandre Diggs or a guy like Darius Slay's name gets brought up, when you start moving pieces out of here because they're questioning what the coaching staff is doing and the position that the coaches are putting them in, and the coaches aren't addressing the issues with the players, they're just going to move them out of town in the dead of night. There's something wrong there. There's a real issue there. You are, one, a shitty head coach. Two, you're a shitty organization. And three, who the hell is going to want to come here and play for you? I don't know. I don't have those answers. But that's kind of what's going on right now, guys. It's a complete mess. So you're right. You know what? Go ahead. Sit Stafford. Lose the rest of the season. Lose out. It doesn't matter. You're not playing for anything. You're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere this year. And you know what? Chances are you're not going anywhere next year. And you know what? And probably in year 4, you'll have a new head coach, and you might have a brand new general manager with the way it's going.
So when you look at what Driskel brought to the table, he does have the ability to kind of keep plays going with his feet. He does have an arm that can get the football forward, but unfortunately he just lacks experience. And, you know, he made that epically poor throw and the interception that kind of changed momentum. But at the end of the day, you know, they scored points. The Lions scored points. He found his targets. The Lions defense, again, you know, it was 7-6 at the half. The first drive, the Bears get the ball. They march down the field. They score a touchdown. Later in that third quarter, again, the Bears score a touchdown, and the defense makes Mitchell Trubisky looks good. At the end of the day, this defense is really bad. It's really bad, and it's not getting better. That's the real issue. The crux of 2019 is going to be, how on earth does a defensive guru have a defense that bad? There's going to be changes that take place. And now people are starting to talk about it. They're starting to say, well, does Patricia deserve a third year? Here's the saving grace that he'll have, because everybody in Allen Park will look to reasons why the team struggled, okay? When the Lions were indeed healthy, they played a decent brand of football. They beat the Chargers. They beat the Philadelphia Eagles. They were, you know, within a couple bad calls away from competing with the Packers when they were healthy. So on film, the team looked better. Then, unfortunately, you trade Quandre Diggs and Tracy Walker goes down. You lose Kerryon Johnson, Ty Johnson. Now the injuries are starting to mount up heavily against the Lions. And so when you just look at not the last 5 games, look at the start of the year when they were 2-0-1. The first 3 games, there were signs of a pulse. And you have to look at those games and say, okay, Stafford was balling out. The team was playing better, and yeah, the running game wasn't there, but if you invest there, if the defense can, find some kind of pulse and some kind of pressure, maybe by adding a couple guys in free agency and through the draft, you could argue that with 3 to 4 more players and they remain healthy, this team could look like a 9-7 team. Now, does this team look like a team that played on Monday night? No, they don't look like Seattle. They don't look like the Niners, and that's what you're trying to build for. So my argument really is that Patricia and Stafford are okay together, but I'm not seeing a championship medal. You know what I mean? I could see them getting into the postseason with Patricia. I could see them competing. Do I see them dominating and winning and starting off a year 8-0 like the Niners? I don't see that. I don't see what Bob Quinn stood up there and said is when he said 9-7 is not good enough. Yeah, 9-7 is not good enough, but we'll take it. But what I'm not sensing is, from what I'm seeing, I don't think Matt Patricia is trending toward a championship with what he's been doing.
Oh, I agree with you 110%. I don't think Matt Patricia fully understands how to be a head coach in this league at this moment in time. Honestly, at this moment, I feel like he thinks he's got to be a complete hard ass. He's got to tell the guys it's my way or the highway. And you seen last year that really didn't work, especially early in the season. And now you got things going on this year where the one thing that was said about him was he was able to adapt his style to his players. They were going to run multiple fronts, not just because of what they were going to face on the offensive side of the ball, but because of the pieces that they have. I haven't really seen him put his guys in a position to be successful. I haven't really seen him put his guys in a position where this team can win games. If anything, I've seen him cost this team games on numerous accounts. I've seen him put his players at disadvantages just on the field and in schemes and in packages. And I've seen this guy hurt that locker room by not being forthcoming and not addressing these issues either internally or head on with players. It's really frustrating to a guy like me who really likes Quandre Diggs. I thought Quandre Diggs was a solid player, right? He questioned some of Patricia's motives, some of Patricia's schemes. And next thing you know, he's getting shipped to Seattle for essentially a bag of balls. You didn't get anything on that return. Now, if you're going to move a guy, that's fine. Move a guy. You're going to move a guy because he disagrees with your scheme. Okay, cool, fine. Move a guy. I don't necessarily agree with it, especially if he's a good player. He's one of your better players. But, okay, fine. But get something in return. You got nothing in return. So why would you do that? You know, it's not like you're trying to shave down some salary cap. Your salary cap's pretty much in place. It made zero sense to me. I didn't get it. I don't get it. Safety was not necessarily a position of strength for this team. It was actually a position on this team that you kind of needed to add a few more pieces to, yet you move out your best safety. Doesn't make sense to me, man. It really doesn't. And I know this is something from a couple of weeks ago, but it just kind of ties into the whole conversation about what this team is doing and what this organization is doing, and how a guy like Matt Patricia is continuing to, in my estimation, hurt this team and really put them at a disadvantage because of either A, ego, B, he just doesn't have the personal skills to be able to connect with the players or coach the players and to put these guys in a position where they can be successful. And it's quite frustrating as a fan. You know, at the end of the day, I don't feel like this team is further ahead than when Matt Patricia took over. If anything, I feel like this team is further behind. I mean, am I wrong in that estimation?
Yeah, no, the team is not doing some things that you would like consistently enough. I mean, when we're talking about, and you can see on SI, we talked about how the Lions are missing tackles left and right. They're inconsistent in terms of pressure. They're not making the key plays anymore. The turnovers have gone way down in terms of forcing, extra possessions. The Lions defense kind of has become really bend and break. That's what it is that the defense isn't good enough, and you really didn't hurt. You said it. They didn't help the cause by trading Quandre Diggs. It probably sent shockwaves, and it revealed their hand, too, because I think that Darius Slay is going to be gone. I don't think that Darius Slay is going to be part of this roster anymore. And, when you do send somebody away, what's the first thing he's going to do? He's going to blast you. And what does Quandre Diggs do on Monday night? He gets an interception. And earlier, prior to the Monday night game, when he's talking, he's like, you know what? The Lions stifle personalities. They don't want that. And at the end of the day, winning cures all, and they're not doing enough of it. And unfortunately, when you win 6 games your first year and your second year, your defense gets worse when you make investments. And it's really, unfortunately, this is a Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia issue. You extend Christian Jones, and half of Detroit's like, why? Why on earth would you give Christian Jones 2 more years? Why is Jared Davis, who's ranked so low in PFF in terms of his abilities at linebacker, yet Paul Pasqualone, the defensive coordinator, Paul Pasqualone's like, we love Jared Davis, and Patricia's out there, and everyone's asking, like, we're aware of how many plays he's out there, and it went way down. And they're like, yeah, we love it, what he's doing, and it's scheme specific. No, it's talent specific. And so,
dude, doesn't that speak volumes to you, though?
No. Here's what it is. Here's what it is. If you ask Patricia about the opponent, he'll give you to the second inch detail. If you ask about the opponent, he'll tell you everything you want to know and teach you football. If you ask about the Lions, he'll use 1,000 words to tell you nothing. And literally, he's good at it. Like, it's really, it's quite obvious. I mean, I'm a psychologist. I'm aware of what's going on. He loves to talk scheme. He loves to talk, X's and O's. He doesn't love to talk details. He doesn't love to answer questions, and he can easily dismiss them with a friendly 10-sentence answer that says nothing. And it's really masterful. He's really good at it. He's gotten good at it. He can speak and talk real fast and literally say nothing. But if you ask him about football and schemes and stuff like that, he'll go and ramble on and on and on about it. So it's never going to happen. You literally have a nicer version of Bill Belichick that uses a lot more words to describe nothing. And it's quite the skill. I'm okay with that. I know the deal. I understand the game that's being played. I'm okay with it. But at the end of the day, the film doesn't lie. We all can watch it. You can pay money and download this thing called NFL Game Center. You can rewatch the film. The film doesn't lie. You're missing tackles. You're not making plays. Your defense is making mistakes. You're not putting, the team in the best position with the scheme that you're running. And at the end of the day, someone should ask them, it's not about executing what you want better. It's really, at the end of the day, what you're asking these guys to run is whack. It's not good enough. It's not.
No, absolutely.
It's not a scheme that's going to be competitive. Just look at what the 49ers are doing. They were blitzing galore. They were putting pressure. They were not dropping back 8 people. They had a better scheme all the way around, and that's the issue with the Lions. They're not running the right scheme, and unfortunately, Matt Patricia's not going to say, well, I agree with you, and we're going to change it. He's got to go with what he's got, and unfortunately, that's what we're going to have to deal with here in Detroit is a solid offense, but a defense that's just going to really give up a bunch of yards and hope to make some plays if everybody is all healthy, but it's not there yet. And with Matt Patricia, he's stubborn as hell, man. He's going to go with it. He believes in it. He believes that he wants his players to be able to adapt on the fly, to be able to think on the field, and it's, not something that's going to take a year or two. And I think that's his built-in excuse is that he's trying to build in a system that's going to take some time. But unfortunately, here in Detroit, anytime,
he doesn't have the time.
He doesn't have it. He doesn't have the time.
And I don't understand how you expect to build this system or how you expect to win games when you're trading away or you're moving on from some of your best players. Quandre Diggs was a very good player, right? He was probably a top 10, top 15 safety in the league. And I know this year he might have been down a little bit, but overall he's a very good player. If you look at Darius Slay is arguably a top 5 cornerback in this league. And yet we just talked about it in your words. He is going to probably be gone next season. So you're going to move away from a top 5 player. Why? Because he either A, has to get paid, or B, because he disagrees with your scheme per se. It doesn't make sense. Yet you're going to sit there and praise a linebacker who hasn't done a whole lot. He's hardly on the field right now. And he's so bad, but he's so damn bad. You have to play him at what, 20 to 30% of your defensive downs? He's supposed to be your captain. He is supposed to be your best damn linebacker on the team, yet you're playing him maybe a third of the snaps if you're lucky, and yet you love that. That's great. That is fantastic. It doesn't make sense, man.
Well,
you're moving away from solid players to praise guys who are absolute trashy.
Because here's what's happened, and it's speculation, but at the end of the day, I'm certain Darius Slay has told him, look, man, put me on a winner. I think that Darius Slay is a guy that's realizing.
And I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
Is going
exactly. Down and I'm getting the hell off.
Exactly. And I think it's not done through where he sits in the office and goes, Matt, trade me. I think it's done where he knows, okay, if I speak my mind freely and just say whatever I want when I want it, and I question what I question and I say I don't care, that'll send the message I want out. And I think that's what, what's the big struggle in that locker room is, eventually speaking, you look around and you want to buy in. You want the job, okay? But, for some, when you got millions of dollars, Darius Slay says it. I'm happy, man. I'm a millionaire. At the end of the day, I want to win. And he doesn't care about following the rules. He doesn't have to. But at the end of the day, when you're a football player and you look around and you realistically ask yourself, you're a player in that locker room, are we going to win with this guy? You have to, at least 25% right now, 30% go, no. And he's asking you to grind, and Patricia's asking you to, do a bunch of things, and you don't believe. Eventually speaking, if you doubt what the franchise is doing, it's your job to then say, okay, get me out of here. And I don't blame a lot of those guys who don't have hope, because it's a franchise that just, for whatever reason, just can't get over the hump, and weird shit happens to that franchise all the time. And I can understand those that would doubt it. And Darius Slay, when you're here for, 7-8 years and all you're talking about is losing and weird stuff happening and, you not getting extended for all the stuff you've done, he tweeted out there, he's like, I got 12 interceptions in the last 3 years and I got to wait for an extension? What more do you want me to do? You want me to high step in the end zone? You want me to twirl and flip and do a 360? I've done well enough, and you didn't show me the love. So eventually speaking, you become disgruntled and you want out. And I don't blame Darius Slay at all for speaking up. I think it's advantageous to probably get away from the Lions. And Quandre Diggs probably is going to be, an elite level player like Kyle Van Noy. Like I tweeted on Wednesday, I said that, look, when you leave the Lions, it's like you get a new life in the NFL. And that's the shitty part, is that those that are left have to buy in for jobs. And that's the tough part, is I think there's doubt creeping into a lot of those players when you're 3-5-1 and everyone's going down hurt. And just because basic level, Stafford's balling out, having the best career year he's having. He's throwing the ball all over the place. The offense is great, and you're still only a 500 team. You're allowed to be 8-0. You're allowed to be the 49ers. You don't have to win games 26-25 every week. You're allowed to ball out. And to win like that.
It's okay to hang a 56 piece on the board, or
it's
or
allowed.
even a 42 piece.
Yeah, it's allowed.
That's allowed, right?
You're allowed to have some fun and speak up.
More than 3 touchdowns a game is allowed, right?
Exactly.
We can do that.
We can do that.
Oh,
exactly.
okay. Did Stafford? Not even Stafford. Did Patricia and Quinn get the memo?
I don't think so.
They have.
No. If it ain't rough, it ain't right. So it seems like that's what they want to do. They want to win every game last minute, along the way. But I'll ask you this: is there any stock in what's going on with this Kaepernick situation? It just seems like an orchestrated circus. Look, there's pros to signing him. There's cons to signing him. At the end of the day, I'd rather just stick with Driskel. He's in the system. He's been at least around it for 9 weeks. Colin Kaepernick, if he comes in, I just don't see him just jumping right in and leading the team to victories. I just don't see it. It could happen. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but I just don't see a guy 3 years removed from playing come into the NFL and then lighting it up, at least not in Detroit. It could happen anywhere else. I'd believe it more than here. What will happen here? He'll have one good game. Everybody will be happy. And the next game, he'll have 5 picks.
No, I think you're right. And the issue is he's been out of the league for so damn long. It's hard for guys to bounce back after being away for, like you said, almost 3 years, right? So how do you bounce back and step right in and make an impact? I don't know if he can do that. The thing is he better than Driskel? That's the real question. That's what you have to ask yourself. Because right now, that's your backup quarterback. Or in this case, he's your starting quarterback because your starter is basically done. And I don't know. I mean, it would really depend on what happens at this tryout. If he shows he still has a little bit of it. He has a little bit of what got San Francisco to that championship game where they lost to Baltimore. I mean, what's he going to cost you? What's he going to hurt? And bring him in, let him compete for the job. And that's really what it should be. He should be competing for the job. He was a guy who had immense talent. You know, he could do a lot of different things. He could run the ball. He could spin it with some of the best. I just, you know, like he had social views, and I think, in my opinion, it's going to make a lot of people not like me, and that's fine. I don't really care what your political views are. I think he was a guy who had a platform, used this platform for something that he felt was important, and then I think the media jumped all over it, and they twisted it a little bit, and they ended up making it this whole thing about the national anthem and the flag, and it was never about that. It was about raising social awareness for police brutality. So it's really weird, man. It's funny how people get so fired up about things, and it really cost this guy years of his career, which is unfortunate. I don't know if he could play. I don't. But if I'm the Lions, I'm going to send a guy there, and I'm going to find out. I'm going to send a guy there and see what can or what could happen, because you got nothing to lose. Let's be honest, man. You got absolutely zero here to lose. So why the hell wouldn't you?
All right. You had a chance probably to peek in to see the Vikings defeat the Cowboys. And there's a little bit of a blueprint. I mean, the Cowboys are a little bit one-dimensional. They like to run the ball on first down and then put pressure on Dak Prescott. If you put together a scheme, if Matt Patricia watched that film and you replicate it, you can potentially make Dak Prescott one-dimensional and, make him try and beat you if you can limit Ezekiel Elliott. You know, the Vikings had an opportunity to go out there and play very well. They moved the ball efficiently on offense, and they were able to take advantage of some things. Now, can the Lions be in this game? I think the Lions, even with Driskel, have an opportunity at home if they play well with some momentum to be in it. But at the end of the day, the Cowboys probably, if they play angry, if they play to their capabilities, should probably win this game by a touchdown or more. But the Lions can. It's not out of the question that the Lions can make some plays early if Driskel can move the football. The biggest problem, is the Lions have no running game. I mean, we're talking about, you read reports that, guys off the practice squad are going to be up here. Ty Johnson's been in protocol. He went out hurt. Rick Wagner, he's out hurt. He's probably gonna, probably not see the field this week. Maybe Matthew Stafford. Even if Stafford is out there, it's going to be tight in terms of what the Lions are going to be able to do defensively. So I think it's worth watching, but this week, don't get your hopes up. I'm not certain even if three guys perform well. I mean, my three guys would be obviously Darius Slay, I would say Jared Davis, in terms of calling that defense, and then Damon Snacks Harrison, again, probably also have to be, run stoppers and trying to limit Ezekiel Elliott. But at the end of the day, ideally, the Lions would show flashes and maybe mix in TJ Hawkinson, the tight ends, and Marvin Jones can find his way back again after, some good performances. But collectively, when you look at this Lions team, the way that I see it is when you plug two holes, three more open. You plug those three holes, the fourth one opens. And that's the problem with the Lions. They have talent, but collectively, the mix just is missing one or two more things. And the one or two things they're missing is high-end, impactful talent. The Kareem Hunts, the guys that put the Ezekiel Elliott's, the Dak Prescott's, the guys that are money guys. You got two of them. You got Stafford and you got Galladay. After that, you got a bunch of, yellow pale guys. You need some more flash. You need some more guys that are like top 5 picks that are divas that will actually demand the ball, and when the time comes and you need that play, will make the play. That's the problem. And right now they got a bunch of lunch pail guys, and they're trying to make it work.
Can I give you some stats real quick to show you how much of an abomination this game is going to be, especially if Stafford doesn't play?
Oh, God.
All right, so Dallas's offense is ranked first overall.
Number
Detroit's
one.
defense is ranked 30th overall. Okay? In passing, Dallas is the third best team in the NFL, while your Detroit Lions are fourth from the bottom. In rushing the ball, Dallas is fifth best in the league.
Yeah.
The Detroit Lions couldn't stop anything if their lives depended on it. It is like hot water running through a strainer. Nothing is preventing this from happening. Nothing is stopping it. The Detroit Lions ranked 26th in the league. It's absolutely abysmal.
So you're looking for Sunday to be bad.
Yes. I mean, if Matt Stafford's not playing, this is a very good defense. They ranked 7th overall. So unless Matt Stafford is playing, you've seen it in this game this past weekend. The offense just bogs down sometimes. And I don't know if it's just Driskel doesn't have enough reps, or if he probably didn't prepare to start this game. So he did play okay, I guess, but still, that was a bad Bears team. And that offense would stagnate at key moments during the game. And that offensive line just let guys through and put him in a bad spot. So I don't see a chance for the Lions to really win this game.
Okay. Loss.
Yes, for sure. But if there are 3 guys who have to make a difference in this game, 3 guys, it is whoever the guy is who is taking snaps, whether it be Stafford or Driskel. Whoever that guy is who's playing quarterback, he has to play lights out. All right? That being said, you need to contain Zeke the Freak, and that's going to fall on your guys on the defensive end, and it's going to fall on a guy like Snacks Harrison. So Snacks Harrison has to show up. And then Trey Flowers has to get a sack or 2 on Dak Prescott to make him uncomfortable. But those are my 3 guys. It's all about trying to make Dak uncomfortable, contain Zeke, and then you really need your quarterback to play a solid game.
Woohoo! I can't wait to be there. It's going to be a fun ride to see the Lions and the Cowboys. And from the staff there at the Lions, the Cowboys come deep. They bring a whole bunch of media. There's going to be a lot of media trying to cover America's team. And it's going to be fun. A good atmosphere. I think it'll be a fun opportunity to cover that game. I think it's going to be a loss. But at the end of the day, I'll be okay with it. I think it'll move them up in the draft position. And losing this go-around, I know will upset a lot of fans. But for me, if you can actually hit on a top 5 pick and get a defensive, impactful player, well, maybe 2020 sets up for a different situation. But, yeah, it's going to be a tough thing. And I do want to let you in on this, cuz. So obviously, I'm writing for SI, and, obviously you write about Stafford and Kaepernick, and you write about keys to victory and stuff like that. But overwhelmingly, by a huge margin, the number one thing I wrote on that site was Jeff Bezos could potentially buy an NFL team. And I said, could he be interested in buying the Lions? Almost 10 times as many people clicked on that than anything in regards to Stafford, Kaepernick. If you put Martha Ford in your story, people will read it, and people have been debating it left and right, and they're going crazy. Look, the headline was a little misleading in terms of, it was attention grabbing, but at the end of the day, it was legit because it's a question. Now, Bezos is interested in buying, and when he comes to buy a team, he's going to pay straight cash, homie, and he can pay a lot. So could he buy the Lions? If he wants them, he could potentially buy any team he wants. Bro, Jeff Bezos is worth $113 billion. He could roll up and offer the Fords $13 billion for that team, and it wouldn't dent his net worth. So, yeah, the headline is not exactly, what the story is, but it's a legitimate question in that Bezos wants in. The owners like him. Read the article. I think it's really good. People are fascinated, and at the end of the day, bro, a lot of people want the Lions to sell the franchise. It was great. Like, I just threw it up there because I saw it, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is simple, and it was just one of many that I'm writing. But when I started seeing the response, I'm like, holy shit, people do not want the Fords any longer to own the family. And I guess I should have known that, but people are still reading it, 36 hours later at a very high rate. So if you guys are listening, Martha equals clicks, baby. What are you
Everybody's just frustrated, man.
Yeah.
Everybody is so frustrated.
No doubt. And guess who else is frustrated? A guy that roots for a college football team that blows 20-point leads.
Bro.
We'll talk about that next. It's Michigan State week. We can't even get through a full 12-minute segment because it's going to be a one-sided game. But we'll talk about it. We'll give our impressions next. Michigan State week, right after we show love to our sponsors. The reason why Doc and Jock are able to keep the studio lights on, the microphones hot, the reason why we can broadcast every single day to the masses is because we got great sponsors. And two great sponsors this week are the Motor City Pawnbrokers and the Flick Chat group chat application. The Motor City Pawnbrokers are the one-stop pawn shop when you're in need of short-term cash or are looking for quality, brand name new, and pre-owned merchandise with locations in Detroit, Ferndale, Roseville, and Warren. Their mission is to deliver exceptional value. Today, go head on over and check out MotorCityPawnbrokers.com. That's MotorCityPawnbrokers.com. Find out about all the great deals. See where the locations are at. Don't pay full price. Do your research. Go check out MotorCityPawnbrokers.com. Mark and the crew, they're dedicated to treating all their customers right. A great sponsor of the podcast, the Motor City Pawnbrokers. If you've just listened to our segment regarding the Lions and you disagree, you think that the Lions can win with Driskel, you think that questioning Patricia is really sick and too early, head on over, discuss with us, debate every single day. Adam, myself, all our friends at the podcast, we debate sports. We talk about all the teams over there at the Flick Chat application. What's Flick, you ask? It's real simple. Go to your favorite app store, whether it be Google Play or the App Store, and find, this application called Flick Chat. And once you sign in, all you got to do is hit the plus button and join the DSP group. And it's a large group chat application. It's where Adam, myself, we talk professional wrestling, we're talking in-game, we're debating. You could even air and listen to your favorite podcast right there directly via Flick. It's really fun. It's real simple, easy to use. All the users can create their own forums. It's just like an organized sports forum via a chat application. It's really fun, really easy to use. Adam and I are there every single day. We're growing it. New members are signing up every single day, and it's really fun and easy to use. So if you're a fan of Detroit sports, don't miss out on joining Detroit sports' newest headquarters, the Flick Chat application. All right, cuz it's probably one of those years where the Michigan State game, the hype around it is really kind of low. And the reason is because Michigan State is really bad this year, and they just had one of their probably worst losses of all time, losing to Illinois at home, in a game in which you led. It was probably symbolic how bad that game was. And going into it, barring some miracle and some injury, it's going to be competitive. I don't see Michigan really rolling up on Michigan State. I think it's going to be a close game around the half. I think Michigan will have probably like a 17-7 lead at the half, and I think they're going to hold on and run the football, and they're going to probably end up with a 10-point victory, somewhere in the neighborhood of like 27-17. I think it's going to be a routine game, not too much to speak on, just because of the fact that Michigan is rolling. They got momentum. They're going to want to look to make a statement against Michigan State. And just unfortunately, the quarterback play from Michigan State, the lack of quality play on defense, the sheer number of mistakes that the Spartans make just lends itself for a game on the road that's going to be tough to win. I think for the Spartans to win, they probably would have to come out early and jump all over Michigan and take advantage of a slow start if Michigan is tense a little bit, if they do maybe fumble or get back to old habits, in terms of just predictable offense, if they just want to run the football and make some mistakes there. But I think Michigan's over that now. They're in a different spot. They're a better football team. And this game, the way I see it, I think, it's probably going to be the nail in the coffin of the Mark D'Antonio era, because losing to Michigan, especially if it's a bad blowout loss, which it could be, then I think that a lot more people will jump on the bandwagon of, okay, Mark, thank you very much. Appreciate what you did, but sayonara.
So you think that there is a great possibility that he's going to be let go?
I think that it's going to be a collective effort where people are going to talk about it. I think that obviously he's got a nice, healthy contract where he gets some money in January. I think he comes back, but the talk will be escalating regarding him. I think right now he does have his hardcore supporters where they're like, you know what? He's gotten us to the Rose Bowl, gotten us to a Cotton Bowl victory. We got to the playoff. But if you get destroyed by Michigan, I'm talking about after the game, if it's like, 55-3, if it's really bad and embarrassing, you might lose a lot of the hardcore supporters, and then potentially there's a chance where Mark D'Antonio and the Michigan State athletic program part ways respectfully, where he resigns. Maybe he becomes the athletic director. Maybe he takes that nice healthy bonus and reworks it and things like that. But it's tough. I mean, I think he doesn't want to end on this note. There's a probably 80% chance he returns, but I think a bad loss expedites those that say it's time for him to go.
I get that. I just don't see that being the case.
Never ever.
Look,
even with a bad loss?
No. The thing is, I don't think Mark D'Antonio is going to go out that way. And look, this season has been absolutely abysmal for Michigan State. I don't understand it. I really don't. We going into the season, we questioned that offense, and we thought we knew what we had with that defense. And honestly, I don't think we expected the offense to be this bad, and I don't think we expected the defense to be this much of a disappointment and a letdown. Going into this game specifically, even if they lose, and look, there's a good chance that it's going to be a close game because D'Antonio gets up for this game. He gets his guys up for this game. But the way they've been playing, I just don't see it. I see Michigan really pulling away probably midway through that third quarter. Definitely by the fourth quarter, I think they go up by a touchdown or two. I'm going to say by 2 touchdowns. I think in the end, what you're kind of looking at is a 35-17 type of game. It's just one of those things where there's something wrong in the mix, man. Yeah. There's definitely something wrong in the mix with what Michigan State's got going on. I'm not saying Michigan's got it figured out, not by all means. I still think Michigan are fraudulent. I don't believe in what Harbaugh has going on. It's going to take a little bit more for me to see. You basically wait. As Jim Harbaugh, you wait until the end of the year to kind of figure out your identity, an identity that you basically ran away from the entire year. It's pretty damn frustrating. You're supposed to be this godsend of a head coach, and you really seem to just kind of muck things up just a little bit too much for my taste. I mean, I know some fans out there think he's God's gift to the maize and blue, but it's what it is, dude. I think Michigan pulls away. I think Michigan wins this game. I think you agree with that. I don't know if D'Antonio leaves or resigns after a brutal defeat. I just don't see it. I mean, I like where your head's at, though. I do like him going and becoming the athletic director. I think that's a great call on your part. He loves this university, absolutely loves it. And he basically made his name here. He said numerous times, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to do a job. And you know what? He might be better at doing that job if he's the athletic director. Shaking hands, kissing babies, raising money for the programs, hiring the next guy. The big issue with D'Antonio, and I think it's the thing that really crushed him this year and got him in a lot of trouble, is that loyalty. He is way too loyal to some of these guys. And if you're an athletic director, you sometimes have to have a quick plug. You got to be able to pull it when you realize it's bad. When the mix is bad, you got to hurry up and you got to dump it and you got to start all over sometimes.
Exactly. And then unfortunately too, look, when you've had success and you've done it for so long, dude's in his 60s, bro. It's not like he's a young chicken. You know what I mean? He's an older guy, right? And it's hard. Look, when you grind, we've been doing this podcast 6 years. I got to practice. There are some days where you're like, man, what else can I get up for? But then you got to find new challenges. Imagine if I was 65 still trying to do this. You're just like, dude, you can't. You're just not the same guy anymore. You see PJ Fleck, and dude's damn near like body surfing and has injected some kind of energy into Minnesota. And right now with Michigan State, the talent's not there. Really, at the end of the day, you got to pinpoint it on the quarterback. The play hasn't been good enough. And unfortunately, everything surrounding that program is just on its way down. Stock is down. Unfortunately, that's what's going on with Michigan State. Not enough talent, not enough belief, and the systems being run aren't high quality. You're running it like you're in the MAC, but you're playing in the Big Ten. And that's unfortunately the toughest part about it, is that Mark D'Antonio has a great legacy and people still believe he can do it. But at the end of the day, I think he lost a lot of the supporters in terms of the belief of where he can do it. I don't think he'll do it again. Yeah, great. Maybe you can get back to 9-3, maybe one more 10-win season. But can you win the national title? Can you win the Big Ten consistently? No. We're looking for the next Ryan Day at Michigan State. We're looking for the next guy that's going to win a bunch of games and re-inject some life for the program like he did when he first got there. And unfortunately, that's not the case. But the fun part about sports is that within a subgroup of people, earlier on Wednesday, half of the Lion Nation split in half when they were debating Kaepernick. Half are like, "Oh hell no!" The other half are like, "You're all racist," and give him a chance. And it was fun to it was fun to see online. And I see that every day when you're on Twitter. But you injected yourself, and you damn near split Michigan Nation. But you're just part.
I did not inject myself. I was having a very simple conversation with Putty, and then people injected themselves into mine and Putty's conversation, and then these lowbrow scumbags, that's what they are, these Greg Henson troll following douches, decided to sit there and go outside the argument and want to argue other points and not argue the points that I was actually making, which is, I don't know, in my case, quite annoying. But yes, those lowlights, that's what we're going to call them, and I don't care. Y'all come get me. I want to feast on all of you. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten in a while. Not since that douchebag Greg Henson blocked me, because he's a little bit of a soft-spined little girl, and y'all can go tell him that. I don't care. There's a reason, guys. Guys, listen to this real close, please. I want all y'all to hear this. There is a reason. There's a reason that this guy, who they used to call the Michigan-style Valenti, which is kind of funny because he came before Valenti. But anyways, there's a reason why he doesn't do big-time radio anymore, guys. There's a big reason why. And I'm going to let you all in on a little bit of secret. It's because he is garbage. He is a flip-flopping homer who can't take a step back and look at what is going on in reality. And his takes change, kind of like the wind blows, or kind of like how the air comes out of my asshole. It just all the damn time, man. It's absolutely brutal. It's absolutely insane. On top of that, he is soft like Charmin. He is soft like Charmin. The moment you sit there and you stick it to him and you outwit him, which honestly isn't really hard to do, he goes lowbrow. He goes low blow. And he wants to start calling names. Which is fine with me. Y'all want to call me a name? I don't give a shit. I don't care. Call me whatever you want, bro. It's cool. I don't care about you. I don't know if you know this or not. I think you are a little bit of a scumbag. And all that being said, I just don't understand what Michigan fans want at this point. Because where I'm at, I wanted a national championship this year. And that's pretty much where the conversation started. I wanted a natty. This is year 5. Does Harbaugh still have his quarterback? Y'all going to tell me Shea Patterson's his quarterback? Is that his quarterback? Really? He had to go and work the system to get this guy to transfer from Ole Miss. Y'all can say McCaffrey's his quarterback, but is McCaffrey playing? Is McCaffrey out there? I mean, garbage time, sure. Or he gets put in when Shea gets pulled because Shea can't hold on to the ball. And next thing you know, he's got a concussion. So guess who's got to go back in? Evil Hands Shea. So what are we talking about here? I mean, this guy, Jim Harbaugh, right? The guru, the mastermind of all of it. Michigan fans, you guys bathed in this dude's juices, which is kind of gross. It's almost like a porno. This guy right here is the reason you all signed up and you talked all this trash to Michigan State fans. John, you heard it. You heard it. The end is near. Michigan State's run is over. Yeah, Michigan State shot themselves in the foot. Michigan didn't get at them. It's not Michigan. It's not the reason why Michigan State's not doing anything. I mean, let's look at Ohio State, right? Ohio State's run's over, guys. We got Jim Harbaugh. Oh, we're coming for you, Uncle Herb. We're coming. Guess what? Urban left because the heat got hot again for him because he did some more shady shit. Guess what? Ryan Day took over, and you know what? That program is well-oiled and rocking and rolling, and it's probably going to run a train right up your MGO blue ass. For real. Let's have a real talk, guys. Let's talk about it. Because I know you're all scared about Ohio State. You should be. You really should be. It's going to be bad. It's not going to be good. All right? So Harbaugh, being the wizard that he is, the guy who goes and sleeps in recruits' bedrooms with them and climbs in trees with them, which I don't know, that's still weird to me. But this dude goes and gets a new offensive coordinator after having a phone conversation with him. And then
y'all put together this scheme where y'all want to just throw the ball everywhere. We're just going to spread it around, guys. It's going to be great. We got awesome wide receivers, and we got an offensive line, though, that is built for run blocking. So let's put our quarterback in a tough spot here and have him getting hit behind the line of scrimmage all the time. Mind you, the dude's so rattled he can't hold on to the damn football, so we're turning it over at an outstanding clip. And let's not figure it all out until the Notre Dame game, where it's like, oh, hey, shit. Hey, guys, I got it. We can't throw the ball because we're in a monsoon. But you know what we can do? We can run the shit out of it. You know why? Because our offensive line is built to run the ball. So your guru as a head coach has been running away from this scheme that he has built over the last 4 years, and then finally figures it out in one game. Awesome, bro. Awesome. So at this point, I did some research. I looked through the rankings, and I just don't see a chance for the University of Michigan to go and play in the Big Ten championship, which means you're not going to go and play in the playoff, which then means you're not winning a national championship. And looking at everything, depending on how things kind of fall, Michigan may end up third in the Big Ten East again. So we're not really getting the progress, guys, that we really wanted. So Michigan fans, where are you? Where are y'all at? I mean, please tell me how stupid I sound right now, because I mean, these are things that I'm seeing. You all should be watching the same stuff. But if you guys got your maize and blue glasses on and you want to tell me I'm an idiot and you want to call me stupid and you want to call me soft and you guys think that I'm a bonehead and I'm a boner, I just need to understand why. I just don't get it, because you should have expected more. You should have wanted more. I mean, hail to the victors, right? They haven't won anything since 1997. If you're okay with the third place finish in year 5 of Jim Harbaugh's tenure, and there is not anything that you can really point to as saying, wow, yeah, that's why we had a setback this year. There was no massive injury to your quarterback. There was no massive injury to your running back. There was no massive injury to anybody on your defensive line or your defense that is extremely integral and key to this team. There was none of that. None of that. The only thing you can point to is getting outcoached by Franklin, not showing up for Wisconsin, and looking piss poor for the first half of the season. That all falls on your coach, man. And for me, it's just not good enough. You know, I'm a guy who competes every single day, right? Honestly, I am probably built really similar to Jim Harbaugh. Every day is a competition to get better at whatever it is you do, right? I'm doing this. I want to get better every single day. And it makes me mad when I go back and I listen to shows of ours and I'm like, hey, I sounded like an ass there. Or, hey, I didn't sound as good as I could have been. I compete every day to get better, to be better. It's what you should want as Michigan fans, right? You should have your team wanting to see them get better, be better. That's what you need. And I haven't got that in 5 years. And that's really where that conversation with all those loser, lowbrow Michigan fans started. It started with me and Putty having a conversation going back and forth. And it was just me saying, hey, man, want more, be better. That's it. And Putty, I feel like Putty kind of agreed with me, right? He wants more. He wants better. Putty and I can have a conversation. We could totally disagree on everything. And still, at the end of the day, come to an agreement that we are both Michigan fans and we both want the absolute best for the program. And we can have a respectable conversation about it. He just sometimes feels like what they're doing right now is good enough. For me, it's not good enough. And that's where we were. That's what started all of this. And then Henson wanted to jump in and he wanted to start running his mouth. And basically when I said, bro, you haven't finished any better than third in the Big Ten. And I said in the Big Ten, right? Because last year they lost to Ohio State. Northwestern won their division, right? So essentially Ohio State's 1, Northwestern's 2. You are number 3. This ass clown wants to point to a tie. Well, we tied Ohio State. No, bro, you didn't. You got waxed by like 63 points in the game you played with them. There was no tie. It wasn't even a close game. Like, I could let you maybe live with a tie if it was one of them games where it was like, I don't know, 24-23, and you kind of got robbed on a bad call by a referee or a bad spot or something of the sort, you know? It's Michigan, Ohio State. Crazy things do happen. No, man, this dude wants to talk about it's a tie.
because they share the same record. They worked you by 63 points, homie. They won the Big Ten East. Okay? They were the ones, not you. They were the ones who went to Indy and played Northwestern and then smoked out Northwestern. So homie, that was no tie. It didn't happen. You finished third in the Big Ten. All right? So I just sometimes Michigan fans, you guys got to look and realize why everybody hates you so much. And you got to look and you got to realize why everybody thinks that you're scumbags and you're pieces of shit. It's because of ass clowns like Henson, ass clowns like the trolls that follow Henson. It's all of you guys. It's all of you guys that make it bad for the rest of us because you scumbags can't get out of your own way and you guys can't think for yourself. Y'all got to hop on his bandwagon and you got to follow him and you got to ride around with him. And you know what, John? I don't care. I don't care anymore, right? I really don't. I've had to put up with defending Michigan fans forever. And you know how to get underneath my skin probably better than anybody. And you do a fantastic job doing it. You've been doing it for 6 years. Some of my best rants have been on this podcast after you have wound me up. You do a fantastic job of getting me wound up and just letting me go. And I appreciate you letting me go. And I appreciate you letting me just kind of vent on all of this. It is time for Michigan fans to realize why everybody hates you. And it's okay. It's fine. Like, I love being hated. I think it's fantastic. It doesn't bother me at all. It energizes me. I think it's great. I can remember the first time somebody blocked me and somebody got pissed off at me because I made a joke about William Clay Ford dying. I mean, it's what it is.
I remember that.
It's what it is, man. It's cool.
I felt bad about that. We were kind of joking around too. We were like, it's kind of a good day for the organization. And I feel bad too because Martha had a birthday in September. She turned 94. But seriously, how many more years has she got left? I mean, I felt bad because I was going to put a joke. I'm like, I don't think the Lions are taking it seriously when Martha texted me and wanted to send me out there. Just go, John, just go take a look. We'll pay for you to go out there. I'm like, I'm not a scout, Martha. I'm just a reporter. Oh,
She's confused. She has no idea what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, come on, man, right? It's like, guys, wake up. Like, is this good enough? It's not good enough. And that's my point. That's what I'm making. That's what I'm saying. It's not good enough.
Right.
Mark Antonio has gone and played in Indy. Mark Antonio has played in the college football playoff. You guys talk about Michigan State like they are the scum of the earth. Okay, one, they're not Ohio State. Ohio State is the scum of the earth. I think we all agree on that. As a fan base, we can all unite as one and under that one flag. We can all agree upon that. All right. That being said, that school down the road, who you call your little brother, has made it further than you have. Underneath this new landscape, these new rules, this brave new world that is the college football playoff, that school made it there. You haven't. You say you have a better head coach than him. Well, I've seen that head coach get more out of 2- and 3-star guys than your head coach is getting out of 4- and 5-star guys. So you tell me who has the better head coach.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, the reason is, and I'll share with you, is that there's this section of fans that are very vocal online that just want to have smoke blown up their ass, okay? There's sites that are dedicated, basically called ILoveWolverines.com. And,
homie, we don't blow smoke up people's asses. We tell it how it is. We are realists with all of this.
Exactly. We're not calling ourselves Spartan Nation or, Wolverine Pride or anything like that. We're just Doc and Jock, and we call it like we see it. But unfortunately, that stirs people up. I mean, there's literally Lion sites that call themselves, Lions lovers in essence. So, and they openly cheer for the Lions, and that's fine. I can see there's a market for that and online, but I think we've built our platform on the notion of we just want to say what we want to say. We don't care if people like it or they don't like it. We just want to say it. And unfortunately, that's what you ran up against, and that's why I told you, man, be careful, because the people that you chatted with were the ones that just kind of wanted, smoke blown up their ass, and they were happy with 10-2. And they were just like, look, we've seen worse. We've seen, the program under Brady Hoke where we lost and things like that, and they're happy. And I get it. Those fans that say that, Jim Harbaugh is a decent coach. But at the end of the day, in big-time sports, there is a notion and a discussion that Michigan should be in the upper echelon by now. 5 years in, they could be further along. Now, those that say that Jim Harbaugh is doing a good job, people like us will say that you're settling, that you should always have the vision of, if you don't believe the coach is going to get you to the national title, then you should move on. Others will say, you know what? No, I don't want to take that risk. I want to keep my chips in hand. I'm not shoving all in to win the tournament. And if you're a card player, those are the guys that cash all the time, but they finish 20th. Okay, at the end of the day, if you love poker, you understand this metaphor. Those are the guys that will hold on to their chips, and they'll be tight around the money bubble, and they'll always have chips, but they'll never have the big chips. They'll never have the big stack going into the final table. Why? Because eventually speaking, you got to have 6-9 and shove all in and make a big bluff and acquire chips. And sometimes someone's going to call you, and they're going to call you with ace-king, and sometimes you have to have that 9 hit. And then, unfortunately, it's a bad move, but you end up with big chips. And aggressiveness wins in poker. And unfortunately, Michigan right now is just wants to cash. They just want to be in the vicinity of a good program. And guys like you and me and others that say and are complaining are like, dude, eventually speaking, shove your fucking chips in the middle and let's see what happens. And you want to be able to do it at a good time when there's an opportunity for the program to take that next step. And right now, most aren't seeing it because of the fact that the program is above average. It's a good, solid program. It's better than when he got it, but it's not to where the expectation is. And unfortunately for some, it's just not good enough. And I respect both sides of the argument, but I stand with you. I believe that Jim Harbaugh probably is better suited now to coach in the NFL, and that Michigan, with the resources that they have, should go out there and buy a coach that they believe will win the national title. They should go out and maybe pursue an Ed Orgeron, or maybe even a PJ Fleck, or maybe even, someone on that Ohio State staff now currently, someone that's hot, someone that's young and can maybe take the program to the next level. But for Michigan to do it right, I think they got to do away with the entire system, offensively and defensively, take 3 years and strip it down for the hopes that they can potentially year in, year out get to the national title. But Michigan doesn't want that. I think the majority of Michigan fans are happy with 10-2, and they'll just hope and wait for that one chance to win the national title. And I just don't think that you and I are in that same boat.
No, man, I'm definitely not. At this point, I want it like it was yesterday.
Right.
And I expected it because when the Lord and Savior, Jim Harbaugh, came in, it was basically promised to us.
Right.
So, I mean, I want it like it was tomorrow, for real.
For real.
Look, if you guys don't like what I had to say and I offended you in any way, good. Come get me.
Exactly.
No,
we're not going anywhere. I like it. That's a good. Best way to be. Follow Adam on Twitter at AdamRSTROZ. We're not hiding at Detroit Podcast. We'll read it. We'll debate it. We'll talk all about it in future editions of the podcast. I enjoyed it. We went a little long today, but hey, at the end of the day, we love podcasting. We love talking about Detroit sports. Doc and Jock going strong, well over 300 episodes, and we're going strong. Even if I'm overseas or Adam's doing stuff, we will always bring you an episode on Thursday. Look for it. Doc and Jock, one of the premier podcasts in Detroit sports, the hub of this entire virus that we spread, taking it from our basement to Sports Illustrated, having a good time with it. Thanks, Adam. We'll talk soon.
All right, brother. Be good.
This was locker room talk.
Second dick.
Sorry, Detroit. Didn't quite work out.
And all I can say is Detroit Sports Podcast scores.
I hear voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me.